welcome back to Good Doggy Training. We're here today in Clumber Park. As viewers will know, this is one of my favourite spots, and I just let Simon and Kevin have a little dip in the little lake here, as it's a lovely warm day. So it's a bit warmer than I thought it was going to be. They were saying it was going to be 18, but it feels more like low 20s, which is nice. So we're just coming up into the woods, and I thought today we could explore freedom. So obviously I'm talking about dogs. Freedom and choice. Is that the same thing? Does it mean the same thing to you? Is it the same thing for your dogs? Come on in. So then, choice. What's choice? Isn't that freedom? So I think choice is deciding when you do stuff. So, with the example of running for a dog, that's the dog deciding when it's going to run, when it's not. So then the dog's got the choice of whether to run or not to run. I think that's what choice is. Good boy. Good boy. So if we're looking for a definition of freedom, I would describe freedom as being able to do the things that you really, really love to do. So then if you apply that to dogs, what do dogs really, really love to do? Little Kevin there is just, they're off running around in the wood, and little Kevin's just run towards me and then run off again. So one of the things that I think most dogs, there is the odd exception, but most dogs love to run. So that's a really good example of what freedom would be to a dog, being able to run. Fabulous. Go on in. So there they go, enjoying themselves again. So they are now experiencing freedom, not choice, because I decided when they got to run. Simon, go on in. So there we saw Simon and Kevin having a run. They looked happy, having a great time. Was that their choice, or were they demonstrating freedom, or was it the both? So I called them, therefore wasn't really their choice, but they were free to come and run, which is what they love to do. And then when I said they could go off again, they ran off, enjoying themselves with freedom. And that's what I think freedom is, which is different to choice. They didn't really choose it, but they love it. So Simon and Kevin are running on ahead and smelling at things, and because they're boys they also wee up things. It's a boy thing. But they're having a great time, having a little scout about, running around, listening to other doggies in the wood. And there's deer in here as well, so they'll be smelling all of the deer and pheasants. There's definitely pheasants in here. Rabbits, squirrels, all sorts. Having a great time. So they're free to choose what they smell at, what they look at, what they listen to, when they run, when they stop and sniff. But it wasn't their choice, because I had them on the lead and then taking them off of the lead. I had them to heel off the lead for a little while, and then I told them they were free. So I gave them a command to tell them they could go off and run and enjoy themselves in this lovely weather. So if you want to maximise the freedom that your dog gets to enjoy, then whatever it is you've trained your dog to do, you need to be quite pedantic about when you tell your dog to do something, then set it up so that it does do it. So if you've asked for a sit, then make sure you've got your treats ready or whatever you've used to train your dog to do those things, whether it's a toy or whatever, and make sure your dog does that command. Don't use a command if you think the situation is such that it's not going to obey, because then you're practicing your dog doing what it wants instead of doing what you want. And if you can make much more of your dog doing what you want through those training exercises, your dog is going to experience a lot more freedom. And how much more of a happy dog is a free dog gonna be? Good boys. Good boys. Come on in. Boys! Good boy, Kev. Woohoo! Boys! Good boys. Good boys. Go on in. I find people forget to recall their dogs. I do it quite a lot when I'm out on a walk. Because if you think about it, they'll do twice the distance. If you keep recalling them, sending them off again, they'll do twice the distance. Another important point is they actually really enjoy it. they love running. They love running back and getting a fuss and stroke and whatever, and then the excitement of being able to run off again. Fabulous. I think there are a few select things that you could and should let your dog choose. So I think your dog should always be the one that chooses when it wants to toilet. So whatever your dog does, whether it goes to the back door and barks or paws the door or just looks at you in a certain way, whatever it is, usually people know what that indication is, then just let the dog out to toilet. So I think the dog should always choose when it toilets, and I think if you do that, you avoid lots of problems. The second thing you should always let your dog choose is when it drinks. So having ready access to water for the vast majority of the time, I think, is a really solid idea. Allow your dog to decide when it drinks and it doesn't drink. And a lot of the time, you know, dogs can be panting away like these two. They're not bothered about having a drink. They just want to run and smell. No different to us when we get out of breath by something. Doesn't mean that you want to stop and have a drink necessarily. But yeah, so I'd always let my dogs choose when they drink. Happy dogs, enjoying their freedom. Boys! Good boy, Kev. Good boy, Simon. Good boys. Go on in. Happy dogs. So one of the things that I do with my dogs is I build a little bit of excitement before they're allowed to go off. So they're off lead and I'm going to let them run up there. But I'm going to wait and then let them run. Go on. And they love it. It's like the excitement. So like if you're watching, I don't know, a mystery TV thing, you know, they deliberately create that excitement. And you can do that with your dogs. So it's all the more fabulous when they get to run off. Because then, bizarrely, they're going to want to run back to get the excitement of running off again. It's just something that they love. Try it with your dog. So I'm sure some of you will think that I'm just a bit of a control freak. And actually, what does it matter if your dog chooses when it does things? Good boy, Kev. Go on in. Good boy. Well, I think it does matter. So often people that give their dogs a lot of choice then will say to me, but I can't understand it because I've taught them how to sit. Sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't do it. So they're just naughty dogs. Are they naughty dogs? Or have you taught them that actually they can choose when they do things? So does that dog think, I'd rather not do that just now because I'm concentrating on this smell over here, or looking at that rabbit or squirrel over there? If you bring your dog up thinking that it does have that choice, then that is likely to be what you'll get. A dog that chooses whether to do what you've asked it to or not, because that's what you've taught it. Life is about. Life's about that choice. Maybe not a cracking idea, Just depends how much you want to do with your dog. Going back to freedom, why choice and freedom are really key together is if you can do what I'm doing with my dogs now, then you can take your dogs out for hours. Don't need to worry about, I'm not even sure where the road is up ahead, but as soon as I get sight of something, I know I can call my dogs back and they will come back in the blink of an eye. They will turn around and come back because I've called them. If you give your dog choice, is your dog going to come back or isn't it? Is it going to be watching that rabbit? Is it going to be looking at something else? Is it going to be smelling something? You've given your dog that choice. Then what happens is people don't let the dog off the lead, because sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't. So your dog ends up not having freedom because you've given it too much choice in its life. Clumber Park's fabulous because there's so many different routes you can take. It's a large acreage. You can find these lovely little tracks, or you can be in the heart of the woods, dense woodland. You can be on some fabulous bits of heather and grassland. It's just phenomenal. We're gonna go this way. So I've taught my dogs verbal commands, but also whistle, just because it saves me having to shout my head off. And they've been used as gun dogs as well, so the whistle is obviously something that you need for that. But they listen to the whistle really well. Good boys. So have a think about freedom, choice when it comes to dogs. Think about how your dog or dogs behave, how much genuine freedom they get, therefore what kind of a lifestyle, how content they are, and what that means in terms of choice, and what differences you may or may not make to how you deal with your dogs, having thought about some of these things. So I hope you found that little wander into freedom and choice helpful. If you've got any questions, if you've got any comments, please leave them in the section underneath the YouTube video, and I'll do my best to reply. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will be trying to do a few more of these little thought-provoking things very soon, now that we've got some good weather and I've got over my lurgy that I had. So I'll thank you for listening. Hope that you're going to watch all of my other little videos. Hope you find them helpful. That's the whole point. And I'll see you in the next one. Happy dog walking. Bye bye. Kevin the nut job. Right, Kev. Nut job. Come on, boys.